Okay, so I'm going to talk about like training sessions to do in your week. So to start off, first thing, very simple, is you need to turn up at the pool. So it sounds stupid, but making swimming interesting is almost the most important thing. And to that end, if for you to go to the pool, you need to stick on core shorts, the biggest pool boy ever, hand paddles on, use fins. Do that. If that's the only reason you're going to get to the pool, do it. Second thing, agree to go with a friend. That normally gets you there. But by far, the best thing, I think, is you get in a squad with a coach poolside. So the guys I coach, I say to them, if they can get to a squad, they're better off going and doing what that coach tells them than me trying to tell them something specific for them. They'll work harder, they will get feedback from the coach, and when it comes to doing drills, it's often very difficult to do correctly if you're just in the pool on your own without someone saying, that's wrong, you know, you need to correct this. So before I go into specific sessions, I'm going to give you some things that I think you should think about when you're in the pool, general things. First thing, if there's a coach, I coach squads. If there's 30 people in the pool, you do try and help everyone, but in an hour session it's virtually impossible to help everyone. Best thing to get help from the coach is engage them at the beginning. A lot of coaches I've experienced with adults are actually quite nervous about telling adults off. You'll see them with kids and they will just, you know, tell them whatever, and they'll tell them repeatedly. That's often what's required. Often with adults they get a bit nervous about telling you the same thing over and over again, but that's typically what happens. If you engage the coach, you say, look, I want the feedback, he will give it, yeah. I know my coach for, I think the last 3 years has been telling me exactly the same thing every single session. It's taken 3 years to change it. So that comes to the next thing, which, I've forgotten your name, touched on. If you come from a running or a biking background, you've got used to things like you can go for your long run and it's a wonderful time to let your mind wander, okay? Think about other things, because the act of running is quite natural, you still benefit from it. Say in your long bike ride, you can kind of let your mind wander. With swimming, if you want to improve, you cannot. Like I can say there's very rarely I take a stroke in the pool where I'm not thinking about something, okay? So it's worth having in your head that when you push off the wall, there is something you're going to think about. So have a fallback one, right? I have a fallback, which is I'm going to shove water to my feet and try and fill the puddle at my knees, ideally at my ankle if I'm really strong. But have something you're going to think about every time, every single stroke. I also have a thing about people doing technique sessions on their own. I feel it's an excuse to have an easy session. I feel that you should always have some work in there because you need to put the technique under stress, okay? So you need to know you can hold it up under stress. Pace clock, right? I have people that spend most of their time at the end of the pool doing this, trying to stop there, and then you ask them what are they going to use the data for? Strava is basically it, right? So leave it on, don't touch it, use the pace clock. Once you get used to it, it helps you count. Top tip, if you're doing something off, say 2:05, you go around the clock in 12, yeah? It helps you count, you shouldn't lose count. The other thing is, it's one of the few cases you can practice sighting. So if I do a 400, I can tell my coach my 100 splits. Because as I turn on the 100, on my third stroke, I crocodile eyes at the clock. And the key is you don't just keep looking till you see it. If you don't see it, you continue stroke and take another look. But you can learn to sight. I mean, it varies depending where the pace clock is, but you can practice sighting in every session. Dead time in a pool. Now, if you're there on your own and you've got a set to do, it'll take however long it does. But if you're in a squad and you've got an hour, 10 minutes chatting during that session is a lot of lost swimming. Yeah, so if other people in your lane are chatting, just get on with it, get in on time, get going. There was one season I thought to myself, if I managed to do an extra 100 metres every session, 3 sessions a week, it's about 15k in a year. If you're swimming in triathlon for 10 years, that's 150 kilometres of swimming. Now, imagine if you had that banked right now, how much better swimmer? Everyone's looking for the shortcut, but you look at a good swimmer and there's a simple fact, they have swum an awful lot. Yep. Right, so, final one, habit of counting strokes. So this is being drilled into me, counting strokes. Now, You can keep thinking that it's all about getting less strokes, and yes, as a coach, I will probably say, whatever you give me, I'll say, we'll try for one less. But I think the more important thing is to count strokes as you tire. Because what happens as you tire is you do stuff to make it easy. So you do things like your hands here and you just let it drift like that. So you lose the water at this transition from pull to push, or you shorten it here, you don't push, and that'll show up if you've counted your strokes. So as you get tired, that's when you've got to focus, that's when you create the muscular endurance. So you get tired, you push. If this hurts, aches, you're like, great, this is working. You keep doing it, okay? So sessions. Bear in mind, if you're swimmers, if you were purely doing this for masters swimming, I would perhaps do something different, but you're triathletes, so you're aiming for what I would call your sub-max pace. You don't mean to be going into that swim and maxing out doing your 400 PB. It's a sub-max pace so that you come out rested. So that end, we want you to have a good, efficient stroke and a sense of pacing. So I'm going to give you 3 sort of styles of sets that I use quite a lot, and I use a lot with my squads. First one is build sets. So this is where you say do a set of 50s, 100s, 200s, even 400s, where each one has to get quicker than the next. Now, the typical thing I find is virtually everyone goes way too fast on the first. I know from experience, I set off on the first one, nice and easy, and it comes in, it's way too quick for me to build. So it gives you a sense of when you start fresh, how easy it needs to feel for you to actually be at the right pace. So sort of examples of that, a very simple one that we use, just 12 100s or 15 100s, build every 3. So you start, your first one you do maybe easy, a bit harder, fast. You just keep going through that cycle till you develop a sense of pace. Another one is to just build through, say do 425s build, then 450s build, then 400s build, and work through that. The next one, again on a view for pacing, is repeats on a short rest. Okay? So the funny thing about swimming is if someone gives you a set, say 100s on 3 minutes, and you can do a 130, that's loads of rest, that means you should be going fast. Yeah? That's kind of like you should be going really hard. But if it's short rest, I think you should view it more as a pacing exercise. The rest isn't really there for you to recover, it's there for you to check you're on pace. So for instance, if your target for 1500 is 30 minutes, that's 2 minutes per 100, you do say 15 100s on 210 and your target is hit 2 minutes every single time. Okay? And actually the priority goal is every single one the same. Yeah? You can then do things like, to make it a bit interesting, is you can switch it and say do 2 on 210 and 1 on 2 minutes and keep cycling through that to put yourself under a bit more stress. The final one, and I love this, I use this an awful lot, is to mix up some fairly hard work with pull with paddles. Okay? So for instance, do 4 100s build 1 to 4, so you're getting the building in, and then you do 200 pull with paddles and you'll cycle through it, or 450s fast, then 400 pull with paddles. Key thing with this is the pull with paddles isn't focused on going fast, it's focused on long, powerful strokes. So it's trying to fatigue your arms, you count your strokes, and you try to make sure as you tire, you maintain the stroke length. Okay? That's what's building your muscular endurance. That's it. Do you have questions there?